Hi, welcome to session 5. We're going to be looking at enlargements and seeing how vectors can actually link into this topic as well. Obviously, to start off with, we're going to do our recap. So hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, and there's your answers. Okay, pause and play when you're done. Okay, so hopefully things are going well. On to enlargement. So in this session, we're going to look at how we enlarge shapes and how we can take it from one level to the next by giving something called a center of enlargement. So this question isn't asking us to do anything other than make that shape either bigger or smaller, depending on what we're being asked by the scale factor. And the scale factor, SF, the scale factor is telling us how much to multiply all of the sides by. So in this first one here, we're being asked to enlarge by scale factor 2. So everything is going to be 2 times bigger than the original. So if this shape has 2, the new shape will be twice as big and we'll have 4. So let's put that edge of 4 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got 4 squares up. That is now going to be 8 squares up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This side's going to have 4. And then the last is just a case of joining them up. And hopefully what you've noticed is I really did go with the vertical and the horizontals because they are much, much easier to just multiply up and draw than any diagonal. So you would avoid the diagonals wherever possible. I could have, if I wanted to, worked out this length here by considering it was 2 along and 2 up. So my start and my end was 2 along, 2 up. Now it's going to be 4 along, 4 up. So if I ever get stuck with a diagonal, that's kind of the way I could think about it. But fortunately for this shape, it meant draw everything else and put that diagonal in last. Now, the rest of these questions are going to be the same starting shape. So what I'd like you to do is just practice, just have a go at enlarging this shape, so this original one here, by 3, so making everything 3 times bigger, by 2.5, and then by 1/2. Okay, I'm not giving you any clues. I want you to go with your gut and then check in with the answers when you're done. Okay, please remember that there is squared paper available in the printables that you were given. So if you need squared paper, that's somewhere you can go. Okay, so those are the answers. So for scale factor 3, everything is 3 times bigger. For 2.5, literally, you just times those edges up by 2.5. And for 1/2, don't overcut. You are timesing technically by 1/2, but all you really have to do is half the numbers. If you had to find a third, then you would divide by 3. If you had to find a quarter, then you would divide by 4, and so on. So hopefully that went well. Now, the difference between this type of enlargement and one that can come to us on a coordinate grid is something called a center of enlargement. So with the previous questions, you could just work out those edges and just draw it wherever you want on the page, and you're going to get your marks. But now, I still have to multiply up all those sides accurately, but I also have to have it in an exact position. And that center of enlargement pinpoints and makes sure that it's drawn in a particular place. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So this question is asking us to enlarge by a scale factor of 2, and the center of enlargement is 0, 0. Or it could say the center of enlargement is the origin. I've already marked it on. Quite often that they don't, so they're testing that you can plot the coordinate as well. So that is the center of my enlargement. That's my point that I must go to, okay? Now, if I I don't have to use vectors, and I will say that straight away, but it is quite useful. If I draw a vector from the cross to one of the corners, and I can choose whatever corner I want, it'll help me. In fact, I'll do it vectors first of all. So I can see that that vector is 1 along and 3 up. I've got a scale factor of 2, so I'm going to times that vector by 2, which is going to give me 2, 6. So back in my starting point, I'm going to go 2 along and 6 up, which is going to take me, oh, I want a straight line really, which is going to take me there. And that's the start of my new shape. Okay. I like vectors for enlargements, but I do think you've got to be very comfortable with your vectors. If not, I really like the staircase, where again, you just choose a corner. So I'm going to choose that same corner, and I'll use a red pen so it stands out as to what I'm doing. And then from that starting point, it's always to do with that cross. I'm going to count to that corner. So I'm going to go up the vertical and along the horizontal, and I see it as a step, and I'm creating a staircase, and I've got the first stair. I'm doing a scale factor of 2, so I need 2 steps. So I've got to repeat 3 and then 1 for a second time, and then that gets me in the exact same place. And it's because the staircase is the vector 1, 3 being repeated, just not technically gone horizontally first, that's all. Now I've got to make sure I draw everything twice as big. So we are going to be, let's get to the straight line. We're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 along and 1 up. And it has to be in that exact position or I will lose marks. Okay. So that is drawing an enlargement when you've been given a center. It does take it up a whole level, doesn't it? I've got this one. I've sent it to you within the printables, okay? If you are ready to just have a go, then please do have a go and press play when you're ready. If you want one more talk through, then absolutely fine. Just let it play through and I will show you this one as well. Okay, so it's a scale factor 2. Center is -5, -3. So -5, -3 is here. I am going to go to a corner. I always like going to a corner that's kind of going to create me a really nice step. Otherwise, it's just easier and nicer to see, I think. So I could pop this on if I want, and then I could repeat that vector a second time. I do like the staircase when it's possible to use it. So I'm going to continue with that. So the staircase this vector is sending me up 4 and along 2, up 4 and along 2, puts me here. So I've done the steps twice because I've got a scale factor of 2. Now I've got to make everything twice as big. So we are going to be 6 down, 2, 3, 4, 2, that, oh, nearly perfect. Obviously, I want my line on the line here, okay? So that is the enlargement, twice as big in that exact position. Really, really important that we get that right. Okay, we've got another couple on that sheet that are yours to just have a go at. I've done the answers, they're pre-prepared. So as soon as you're ready, okay, that's a center -2, 4 in case you are copying these and not using the printed worksheet. Yeah, so have a go, press play when you're ready, and we'll have a quick look at the answers. And then I shall leave you with a bit more practice to end the session. Okay, so those are the answers. My dots are very faint, so you can hardly see the steps, sadly. But you can see the vectors working out, and everything is the correct size. Okay, hopefully that went well. As I said, we have got some more practice at the end of this session. We've got one more little thing to see before, and that is just like we saw with the translations, where you could be asked to describe it, you can have that happen with this type of question as well. Now, I have pre-prepared a bit of it because sometimes it can be a bit temperamental, and if it doesn't work out, then I wanted you to be able to see. I am still going to try and demonstrate this properly though. So you can use the staircase to try and work out what's going on, but you would be doing it backwards. And sometimes I find the staircase can be a little bit harder on these types of questions. All right. So what I'll demonstrate that. So if we're going to be doing it backwards, then we are going to be here and we're going to do our step here. So we've got that movement, okay, 2 along and 5 down. So I repeat that movement, 2 along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. And that tells me where my center of enlargement was. And the reason I did 2 steps is because I can see that shape A has gone from 2 to 4, so I can see the scale factor is 2. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it that way. And then what we would do is we would say it's an enlargement with a scale factor of 2, and then we would write center, and we've worked that out to be -3, -2. So again, it's like that invisible question. What was the question originally to get that shape A transformed to shape B? Okay, so it was enlarged 1 mark, okay, the scale factor. So all of that detail is really, really important. The other way to do it is to just use the rays. Now, the rays need accuracy. Okay, so when you are drawing your rays on, I'm going to do mine in red just so they do stand out. What you're doing is you are lining your ruler up to these points, these corners, and you've really got to make sure that it's bang on, because if you're out slightly, it's going to throw the whole thing out. So let's have a go at going from that corner to that corner, and then you just extend. And then you go from that corner to that corner, and then you just extend. And can you see how my crossing is not in the absolute perfect position? And it's because that second one just didn't quite go through this corner here. It's gone just in front of it. And that is enough to really make a difference and throw it out. So accuracy is really key when you're using the rays to help you find that pinpoint. So you can see on the one that I previously did, it's coming in an absolute tree at the exact same point that we would want it. When you're drawing it, I wouldn't worry about an overlap like this, but that is a very good demonstration of how those rays, without perfection in going through those corners, it could throw it out. So again, the idea of the practice questions is for you to be comfortable finding the way that suits you. I haven't done a second example. You can re-watch through the detail of this if you need to, but I think you know, because it's just using the knowledge that we already have, just backwards, it doesn't require, I think, any more than that as an example. Just remember, when it comes to writing out, you've got those 3 points that you have to make. You have to say enlargement, you have to mention the scale factor, you have to mention the center. Okay, so your questions are here, and you've got 2 pages. So you've got that one, and then you've got this one for the describing. Okay, I will do a kind of zoomed in version in case anyone is having to draw these all out by hand. And then obviously I will go to the answers like I normally do. And then I will see you next session. So really well done. That's enlargements, all done in one nice quick session. All right. You can hear me in the background. Okay, there we go. Okay, now your answers.